David, start the clock. Okay, all right. Welcome to ThinkTech, you guys. It's wonderful to have you here, no kidding, and girls. Okay, we have a very special show today, and I don't say that easily. Okay, we have Evan Rapoport from Google. We have Rob Pacheco from the Mountain and Trail Club.
Hawaii Forest and Trail.
Forest and Trail Club, which, you know, I used to spend a lot of time hiking. I know it's hard to believe, but I really admire all organizations that do that, especially nonprofits. You are a nonprofit.
No, we're not. We're a profit. We're an eco-tour company now.
Okay, all right, excellent. And we'll connect that up with Google in a minute. Okay, and we have Kara Imai from the Hawaii Visitors and
Convention Bureau.
Convention Bureau.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to have the three of you because you're disparate. You know, if we didn't know what was going on, we'd just say, why are these three people in the same room? And that's what I want to explore today. So you guys were involved in a big rollout this morning at the convention center. Nathan Kim was there, wasn't he?
He was, yes.
From Anthology, yeah. And in this rollout, you rolled out a kind of partnership, a collaboration involving Hawaii and involving new technology by my favorite technology company of all, Google. Oh, Google, you know. Okay, tell me about it. Why don't you start, Evan?
Sure. So I'm a product manager on the Google Maps and Street View team, and we have a new technology called our Trekker. And what Trekker is it's the backpack that takes the best of what the Street View cars has, the camera that sits on top of them, and puts it into a 40-pound backpack. And you can hike off the road, you can go everywhere and create these 360-degree panoramas that you see in Street View. It automatically takes pictures every few feet. It's 75 megapixels, so you can really geek out and zooming in and seeing all the detail, really high-resolution images. And we've, for the first time ever, given this technology to a partner. And so today what we announced was that first partner is the Hawaii Visitors and Conventions Bureau. And here we are in the most beautiful place on earth to announce this great partnership that the Trekker technology is now being used by HVCB and by Rob's organization to help starting to map out Hawaii's trails.
This is a major thing. I mean, are you flying around the country, Evan, doing partnerships like that, or are we exclusive here in Hawaii?
It's not exclusive. Today is the first, though. So we're announcing is that this partner program is now open to universities, to nonprofits, to governments, really to any organizations who want to go out there and show off a beautiful place and bring that imagery onto Google Maps. At Google Maps, we're really, really always focused on comprehensiveness, on accuracy, and on just having beautiful imagery to really help people understand a place, to know before we go. And so we're looking for any partners out there who might be interested, and people who want to be the next Trekker. Rob's the first, and if you want to be the next, g.co/Trekker, Trekker, and you could sign up and start trekking with us.
And see photographs of the Trekker device too.
Yeah, you can see lots of pictures. Yeah, it's a pretty cool piece of technology, I gotta say.
You trust people to walk around with that?
We trust people like Rob for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like a very sophisticated piece of gear. Can you give a word picture?
A word picture, let's see.
A word picture of the Trekker device.
Yeah, so imagine a backpack that you have, that standard sort of pack that you might go for a day, but out the top, right above you, is sort of like a soccer ball, right? And there's 15 cameras that point in all different directions, and they each take pretty high-res images, and you hike along, and you have this sort of thing above your head, and that makes sure that you get a nice long view of the whole environment.
Okay, I want to, in the next segment of the show, I want to talk more about the technology.
Yeah.
But first, let's talk about the partnership. So why are you into this, Rob?
Well, I think HVCB, when they got approached by Google, thought, well, who are going to get to carry this dang thing? And so,
simple question.
We partnered a lot with HVCB, and they looked to us and to come up with a set of trails. That was one of the big concerns. Where's the appropriate place for us to do this, to promote? And so we started a dialogue and working with them, and we were excited about it and promoting the islands and this technology. And I'm a lover of maps and as a naturalist, and so this is a real exciting project to be involved in. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Rob's being modest. We think really highly of him, and it's a big responsibility, and we needed somebody who has respect for the islands that we live in, and that we knew was going to pick approved state-maintained trails, and so we immediately thought of Rob.
It's a careful choice.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so this is very important to the state then, HVP.
It is.
Tell me why, what's the larger mission of HVCB that makes you interested in this?
Well, our main mission...
Ecotourism is part of your array of products, right?
Well, our main mission is to get people, we're tasked with getting people from North America to visit the islands. And so, this opportunity came up and we were super excited because, how often do you get an opportunity like being able to show your, Hawaii messaging that on a scale that Google can provide. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I want to talk about that also, about the scale on which
Right.
Google can provide this. So you're delighted, Rob's delighted, and Google is delighted too.
We're very delighted as well.
Came out here,
Yeah.
You're bringing the gizmos out here.
We brought the gizmos, yeah.
Well, I wish you had one with you. We could, take pictures of the studio. Anyway, so I guess what really interests me is, that this is a special blessing that Google is providing Hawaii. I see it that way.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know or remember, but a couple of years ago, we had this broadband initiative, and we were looking for Google to give us blessing on the broadband initiative, because Google was giving benefits to communities that it found worthy of broadband assistance. Okay, and we tried, and we made a petition, and a lot of legislators, were pumping it and all this, but some town in Arkansas, I want to say, I could be wrong on the state, Kansas.
I think it's
thank
Kansas.
You. You know the story.
Yeah, I signed the petition.
Yeah, okay. They renamed some street in the middle of the town, or renamed the whole town, Google Town, and Google anointed them instead. So now this has straight, symbolism, because we're having this revisit with you.
Okay.
And we are so happy that you are anointing us.
Yeah, I mean, the choice of Hawaii for the first Trekker partner, I think, is just a wonderful choice because Hawaii has such a diversity of landscapes that, we all know as we go to island to island. Each island has its own unique characteristics, and the big island, Hawaii Island, alone has, I think it's like 11 of the 13 climate zones that you could find on Earth. I'm assuming the ones it doesn't have are like the frozen Arctic tundra. And so it's just really unique for us to come here, and then in this small little archipelago in the middle of the Pacific, we're able to get such a diversity of landscapes. And as I think about where the Trekker is going to go over the next several years with our other partners, Hawaii is going to really give us a preview of how it performs and how it works. It's a great field trial to think about what it's going to do when it gets to these distant, remote places.
Yeah. It's like the movie industry. In other words, every time we make a movie about Hawaii, The Descendants recently was a major film that was made here, and it showed off Hawaii. It was a very pretty film. I really liked it. A lot of the people who know about movies liked it, and so it was promotional for the state. A good image of the countryside, and there was this one special valley, if you remember in that movie. It was a spectacular valley. So and that was the outback. That was the forest and trail.
That's right.
And it meant a lot to advance Hawaii's interest. So here, we care a lot about showing that off. We are a movie set in our own way. So you're extending our movie set concept here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, and Rob can talk more about this, we're really focused on showing off the places where people can go that have public accessible trails, that we're not sending people into places that, they shouldn't go or that wouldn't be safe. And that, Google Maps is really always trying to make sure we're accurate and comprehensive to not send you off somewhere that you shouldn't go. And Rob's mission is, I think, just wonderful. When you guys told us when we first met Rob, it's just been really nice to focus not on, these distant, remote things that you can't really get to. And I think Rob, has just the right strategy for how to bring Hawaii to everybody in a way that makes sense.
What is that strategy, Rob?
Well, I think, we're talking about looking at this global endeavor that Google's doing and thinking about Hawaii. For me, we've been interpreting Hawaii to visitors for 20 years, and
They don't look that old.
as a
Maybe he started when he was very young.
As an interpretive naturalist, what you try to do is get people to love what you love, and you take people out. And nature is this very powerful thing that we all need in our lives. We need to be inspired. We need to be have awe in our life and wonder. And Hawaii is a place that delivers that just as well as any place on the planet. And we've got these tiny little islands here with this, like you said, this incredible diversity. And so with trails that are some paved, easy access for the most part, but you can get out and see these places that are really world-class natural wonders. You know, these mysteries and masterpieces that these islands hold are really special. And for us to be able to be a part of having that and using, you know, this best technology, this amazing technology, for somebody to be halfway across the planet and scoop in and explore something like this, even if it's remote and like that, there's still ability to touch somebody, and, you know, emotionally, spiritually, you know, intellectually, just get their curiosity, and maybe it'll drive them here, but maybe not. But still, they get a connection, and Hawaii has a powerful brand, you know, that I think has to do with this place, the nature of this place. And so,
you know, you raise some interesting points, and then the whole project raises, or at least the initiative here raises some interesting questions, because Hawaii has had, I'm a lawyer, I have to admit that to you. Disclosure.
Full disclosure.
You know,
Good. Thank you.
There have been cases and sort of a tension in the case law about access, right, to trails. You must deal with this all the time.
I do. I'm also on the Board of Land and Natural Resources.
Oh, well, that helps.
Yeah.
And you should be. Absolutely should be.
But yeah.
So you know what's happened, and you can correct me because you're closer to it. What's happened is we've had issues about getting across private land in order to get to public lands, so that people could hike and get into the outback of Hawaii. And so a lot of people might have gone but haven't gone. And in this generation, it hasn't been as you know, much a ripe pomegranate as it used to be. I mean, people actually went there. But now, this is my proposition for you. Now this essentially reopens areas that were hard to get to before.
Yeah, well, you know, the trails that I chose, I specifically looked at the access issues, and use a trail on Hawaii Island, Kona, the Napapo Trail to Ka'avaloa, which is Captain Cook Monument. Very popular trail. Pretty tough trail. You know, you start up and you go down this dry, rocky road down to the coast of this beautiful place, and it's state trail. However, the parking and access to it's on private property, and so the landowner years ago just kind of gave up, you know, trying to control that because the pressure is just too much. So, you know, we chose not to put that trail in the program because there isn't really true unfettered public access to there, because we don't have, you know, a good starting point for that trail. So all the trails that we're going to be, you know, photographing, you know, with the Trekker are trails that have 24-hour access, no restrictions, you know, with good public access to them. And some of them are, you know, some arduous trails, you know, as far as a hiking trail, but other ones are, you know, Bakaka Falls is, you know, concrete trail that, you know, in 5 minutes you can, you know, get to see this beautiful,
sure.
yeah. So we're trying to get that mix, and a mix of different scenes from Hawaii and different places. And
a mini prediction.
Yes.
My point advanced a little bit, and that is people haven't really enjoyed the outback, you know, as much as maybe the previous generation did. This is going to sensitize them. It's going to raise their level of awareness about what's back there. And my guess is that when people in the world, but it's also people in Hawaii, get to see through this device what's back there, they're going to say, we got to go on a hike with Rob. They're going to say, you know, to their legislator, you got to make all the trails accessible. You're going to open it up for us because it's so nice that we want it. You know, so I think it'll change public opinion here and elsewhere about getting back in the backwoods of Hawaii.
You know, if this project gets anybody out into the wilds and out into nature, that's the great thing, because that's something I think our society, you know, we all need to be connected with nature. And I think one of the problems is that, you know, a lot of people are disconnected, and that leads to a lot of personal issues and societal issues, and, you know, and community issues, because if we're disconnected with the world that we live in, it's hard to make good decisions and hard to have a good, whole, healthy life.
Okay, it's a spiritual thing. I feel it now. Anyway, you guys are doing really important work to have this happen. Let's go to my second point, though, dividing the show up a little bit.
Okay.
The technology, and I'll tell you my thoughts, and you can agree or disagree.
Okay.
So it started out with the Google car, which everybody, you know, is a sort of fascination point about how that works. And the thing, you know, going everywhere, and then you look at Google Maps, you see unbelievable pictures of everything, including my house, by the way, and your house too, I'm sure. you know, that was something, and you get to feel that you can travel, like mind travel, anywhere, really. Even in developing countries, you can go anywhere. It's amazing what you've done in how many years since the original idea by Michael Jones, who I told you we met a couple of years ago here.
Yeah.
Anthology brought him in. We had this fabulous program. We all met him.
Uh-huh.
It was very nice. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you. So now we're one step beyond that. Now, I guess you're springing off the Google car and sort of miniaturizing it so that you have the sphere.
Mm-hmm.
And now the sphere can go anywhere you want, go anywhere Rob goes, which is, you know, pretty far.
Yeah.
And see much more. I mean, the amount of material that you can gather walking is so much greater than just being on a highway or a road, right?
Sure. I mean, I think we all know who've lived or love Hawaii that some of the most magical places here are not ones that you can drive to, right? Not even ones you could ride your bike to.
Or take a train to.
Or take a train to. There's not many trains here. So, you know, I think that the ability to then go off the road, onto the beaches, you know, into the craters of the volcanoes, like, it's just clearly what people want to see and want to do when they come to Hawaii. And it's really exciting that we finally have a piece of technology that lets you do that. Our Street View car, we first did about 6 years ago.
Were you involved in that project?
No, I was living here in Hawaii 6 years ago,
Okay.
actually. I moved to Google about 2 years ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so we first started Street View about 6 years ago. Since then, we've covered about 5 million miles in 50 countries around the planet. And over time, we started to miniaturize the supporting infrastructure. The cameras have always sort of been this, you know, really great high-resolution camera, and we've made it better and better. We start to have better laser scanning technologies on the car, so we can actually get 3D geometry. And Street View actually makes maps better. It actually helps us position to make sure our maps aren't 95% accurate, and then gets you most of the way, and then you turn. They're actually now, you know, as close to the real world. And so then we started to have a trike, which is a way that we can cover golf courses and resorts, and that's been in Hawaii for a couple years. Last year I came back and we ended our trike program, and then we now have a tripod system. So when you have little small places to go, or when you have businesses that want, you joked before about your studio being on Street View, like, we could do that, right? We have a tripod system to do those types of things, and many businesses have done that. And so now we have this backpack, right? And I think it just brings the best of everything we've done into a very portable technology that is, you know, 40 pounds. So it's a heavy backpack, but he's a strong guy. And you know, I think it's the standard kind of weight that people would be willing to do. It lasts an entire day. It's rugged. It's ready for the environment. It can rain on you like it does in Hawaii occasionally. And it's ready for it.
It's a challenge. I mean, it's always 40 pounds, but number one is it's Google.
Yeah.
This helps, you know. I'm carrying a Google thing in my. The second part of it is you are giving, you know, it's an altruistic thing. You are giving to the world. You're engaging with nature, which you love to do. You wouldn't be in what you do. But also you're giving that to the world. It's a great gift. It's a great partnership.
It is.
Yeah.
So anyway, technology.
Sure.
When you went around with the Volkswagen or whatever car you were using for that.
We use all different types
All
of cars
different,
for
yeah,
every
you wanna-
country in the world. We source local local cars. Yeah. So.
Okay, so you were developing a certain software, you know, sort of to map, you know, it's like they talk about mapping the human genome. Well, this is mapping the Earth down to every last inch.
Yeah.
You know, so you developed this software. This was really the important part of it, that you could stitch all that together and have a kind of carpet of photography everywhere.
Sure.
And now, you know, you've taken, I assume, the same kind of software, but you've advanced it. Tell us about the software.
Yeah, so behind the scenes, so after Rob goes off on his treks, and there's a little compact flash card that contains all the imagery, he mails that off to our data centers. We import the data. And this is the same whether it comes off our cars or our trikes, and now our trekker. It gets processed basically to take those 15 individual photos, stitch them together into a 360-degree panorama, which is 75 megapixels, way bigger than what your phone has or even your DSLR. And then we do a lot of processing to correct what we call a pose, which is basically how is this picture oriented in the world so that it's not tilted sideways or you know, looking the wrong direction.
So you're looking at the adjacent picture, but you're also looking at GPS.
Right, so we make sure GPS is spot on, so we actually have multiple GPS sensors on the
like
trekker.
to within an inch.
Yeah, it gets down there pretty close. Okay. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's as tight as it needs to be for you to, to use it and navigate the world. And then we want to make sure when you go from panorama to panorama, like you can in Street View, that you keep the same thing in frame, right? That you actually feel like you were walking there. We really want to make you understand what it's like to be in this place. And so our software goes through, and we have some people sometimes manually fix things when necessary because we really, really want it to be accurate, and it takes time. And then after that, we then apply these automatic algorithms that detect faces. And so we take privacy very, very seriously at Google, and certainly on Street View and on Maps as well.
Where people are involved.
Yeah, where people are. And so we automatically, and we've developed some really advanced algorithms actually to detect faces, find faces, and then blur them, because we don't want you to accidentally appear in our imagery. And so we blur all the faces. We do the same thing with license plates. And as we all know, there's different license plates in different states and different countries. And so we've trained through machine learning our computer vision algorithms to actually find license plates and blur those out. So we take privacy really seriously, and we make sure all that imagery has been processed properly before we then publish it to Google Maps. Once it's all sort of ready and people have reviewed it and everyone's experienced it and knows that it's ready to go live, then we work with our partners to make sure the timing is right to sort of have a nice introduction of it to the world.
So introduction of what exactly, though? So what are you introducing at that moment?
Sure. So at that point, in this program, what we'll end up introducing would be like a trail. Let's take one trail, for instance. So we have, let's say, a 5-mile trail. There's going to be 360-degree panoramas every few feet, and those will all be interconnected. So much like you can do in Street View where we're driving down the road, you're going to be able to do the same thing on the trail. And then this all gets published to Google Maps. And so if you're looking at Google Maps and you zoom in, you'll be able to just basically navigate through the Street View imagery. That can happen whether you're on your phone. So we have a great Google Maps app on Android and on iOS, or of course on your laptop or desktop as you're looking on the web.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So here I am. I'm with Rob. I'm with him. In his brain, I'm there. And he's walking down a trail in a big island somewhere, and it's really exquisite, okay? And I can go with him. I may be in Minnesota, and I may be 97 years old. I could never take this hike in physical fact, but I can go with you. I can get on Google.
Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing. And I can go down the trail with you, and I say, stop. I want to look around. I want to see the birds. I want to see the plants. I want to see it all. And I can do that on command.
Oh yeah, it's fully interactive. These are 360-degree panoramas. You can zoom all the way in. Again, I mentioned 75 megapixels, so that's huge. So you can see that native plant that you really want to check out, and you could zoom in and you can take a look at it in a way that you'd never be able to. Yeah, that's a 30.
This kind? This is a flashcard.
That's a flashcard.
I wish they were that small.
Yeah, they're a little bigger than that, but
okay.
But you by that point, you're in Minnesota or wherever you are, and you're browsing. You don't care about how we took the pictures. You just want to know that you can experience it yourself. And that's actually what we've been seeing a lot of people who write to us or share to us that I can't hike, I can't do this anymore, or I can't go to this place. And this is really just a way to virtually experience the world, and it's truly incredible. There are people who are handicapped who can't get to these places, but why should they be deprived of seeing some of the most beautiful places in the world? And Rob's going to be their guide to take them out into the world and to show them these magical places for the first time. And it's really, really exciting.
I'm going to give you a short story that relates, okay? A friend of mine owned a magazine here, Hawaii, called Aloha Magazine. Doesn't exist anymore. He died. End of magazine. But the interesting thing about the magazine is that it had beautiful pictures of Hawaii, mostly the outback. And his target audience was all those people in the mainland who have come here, okay, maybe once or twice, really liked it, and then went home. And in December, there's nothing more they like to get was his magazine with the pictures. They would relive their experience. And as I got older, that was their only contact with Hawaii, just getting the magazine. So we had this huge subscription list all over the country of people who were here by proxy. And I suggest there's a huge market of people like that, growing every day.
Sure.
Who may not be able to be here, but this is the next best thing. And surely what you're doing is better than a magazine.
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting when this imagery starts coming online later this year for people to be able to, follow your website. GoHawaii.com is going to start featuring all of this new imagery, and on Rob's website, and be able to see the newest imagery. And like, hey, this weekend I'm going to go virtually hike, and do this, and like next week I'm going to go virtually hike somewhere else. And I think it's just going to be really fun as new imagery comes online.
I think it'll have enormous popularity,
Yeah.
really.
Oh, yeah.
It's a two-way thing too, because I mean, I think in some sense it will inspire people to maybe come here and visit, or just to experience it, through the cloud. But in another sense, it's for people like you say who've been here. And when we travel, we collect stories about ourselves, and we have those, these experiences. And when we travel, things happen to us, that carry us forward.
That are
in life.
special,
yeah. And those memories come back to us, and in a moment in time, we can bring those things. So, when you eat something in another place and you go back and you taste that food, it can, bring back that evocative imagery you have, or image, a photograph, or something, a screensaver you have. All those things are things that take you back, and this is something really incredibly powerful that can, is just even more so.
Beyond anything we've heard of
Right.
before. I mean, for example, I'm in Minnesota, and I'm not 97, I'm 27, okay? And I'm thinking about coming to Hawaii, so I get on your, website, okay, which I'm sure you will have this, right? And there's a trail that you like, that your company likes to take, and people come to you for that trail, and you say, well, you can take a look at the trail in advance, you can get a preview of it. Oh, can you imagine how people will get excited about that?
I think one thing we're really kind of I'm excited about doing is when we're training new guides and and old guides too. We like to we try to build breadth and depth, we call it, about information so that we can share, because that's kind of the catch that you pull people with, and you're able to make connections with them about things they know. So it costs a lot to take a group of guides out and drive 100 miles across over to Hawaii Volcanoes National Park and get on a trail and work through the interpretive stops and how you develop this tour for people and really impact people. Boy, something like this we can go through, and we can actually do it, sitting around a table on the computer. Our office is in Kona.
And adding voice to it.
And do
voiceover.
But train our guides to be familiar with the place, or and so there's just a lot of applications that we can't even think about right now that we'll see.
You've been thinking about it though, Evan, right?
We've been thinking lots of things. So Street View has been around now for about 6 years, and we have, as I mentioned, 5 million miles all over the place, and people always find new uses for technologies that you can never imagine. And I think that for me as a product manager is the most exciting part about my job, which is say we're going to put it out there and we're going to see what people can do, because people, especially when they're motivated and passionate about something, find amazing uses for it that you would never do. And so I just can't wait to see what people are going to want to start doing with this. And you've come up with a bunch of great ideas today already, so I've got to imagine everyone else out there, all the entrepreneurs out there, and all the creative people are going to start doing some amazing things.
And that's the
with
thing
this.
about Google, it's open architecture, which is got to be the best way in the world to advance technology.
Yeah, I mean, all this data is going to be available through our Google Maps APIs, so people can use it, and it's really going to be very interesting to see what people do. So
we have you right here in our studio.
right here, Al. There's a huge team of very brilliant engineers that I work with, who I'm sure all would have loved to have come here with me on this trip. So yeah.
So Kara, I want to know about the state of Hawaii.
Yeah.
The state of Hawaii is interested in this, and we can figure out that Rob's going to put some of this, maybe a lot of it, maybe all of it, on his website, because it's in harmony with what you do. It is what you do. What about the state? What is the state going to do with this material?
Yeah, we're super excited too. I think we're going to use it in a bunch of different ways. We're going to focus on, as the footage comes in, we're going to do timely blog posts and stuff. But the big idea, I think, for us is we want to take a lot of the material and build out like a landing experience. So when people come to our website, gohawaii.com, right now you can find out, all about Hawaii and the places to eat and the places to go. But now for the first time, we're going to actually be able to get people to go on these different hikes and eventually, hopefully, beach walks. And I got excited when Rob started talking about, that feeling you get when you go on vacation sometimes. Our current campaign kind of plays off that exact idea. It's called Living in the Moment. And when you go on vacation and sometimes, you're with your loved one and it's just like, oh my God, life couldn't be much better. So it's supposed to try to capture that feeling, and I can't think of a better way than having people actually click through a hike or a beach to get that. So that's how we're going to be using it for our purposes.
Don't forget the local people.
The first time we published our Hawaii imagery on Street View, I remember going immediately and finding where my wife and I got married.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, so we were able
A
to
romantic
see.
experience.
Oh yeah, so we were able to see the spot, and I showed that off, and then I remember where I proposed on Lanai, so I went over there and I was able to find it in Street View, and like this living in the
cute.
moment, I mean, it really brings it back,
Yeah.
like to be able to see these places again. And so, you know, of course, I have memories of all the places that I used to, you know, go with my friends when I lived here, and you know, so it is really, truly, I think, incredible to be able to go back and live in the moment, as you said. Yeah.
So I make movies, right? That's what we have here. We make
Sure.
A lot of movies. So I don't know if I can do this. You can tell me yes, no, or maybe you have to get back to me about it. But,
Okay.
but suppose, you know, my wife and I, we've been married 45 years now. We're starting to get, you know, interested.
Yeah, yeah. I hope this works out for you.
What kind of movies are we talking about here?
No. Anyway, so it's, you know, I mean, you talk about going to places that are familiar, going to places that have historical, symbolic, personal, you know, moment for you.
Sure.
So suppose we're going to have our anniversary. Actually, our anniversary was last week, but we're going to have our anniversary.
Did you forget? Why don't you say happy anniversary
We went out
right
really
now?
nice, and it cost me a lot of money.
Okay.
How could I forget? Anyway, so suppose we want to, you know, I want to make a movie for her. I want to
Okay.
touch all those points.
Sure.
I want to take her down the trail that we, Avapuhi and Kauai, if you know that
Yeah,
trail.
yeah.
Oh, I love that trail. We'll be doing that trail. Don't forget to do that trail. So I want to show her that trail. I want to take her on the walk we went when we were young. I can do that, right? Can I do that? Is it legal for me to do
Is
that?
it legal for you to do it? We have a lot of really great tools to let you take our images and to turn it into sort of an interactive web-based experience. So you can have a guide for her where you can actually have her walk through. So I think you could even do better than a movie, which is just to have her be able to directly interact with it and walk through it herself. And she can click through and she can see it all herself, and you can have your wonderful voice overlaying and talking about this.
Exactly.
Hey honey, you remember when we were here? And, you know,
Exactly.
so yeah, I think she'll be very impressed with what
I
you're going
hope
to
she
put
doesn't
together.
watch this. I want to surprise her.
Yeah, edit that part out. Oh, we're live. Oh well.
So you know, tell us what it means. I mean, just while you're here, Evan, you know,
Yeah.
what does it mean to work for Google? What does it mean to be a product manager? What does it mean to work on a project like this one for you, professionally, personally, and in the larger scheme? You know, your place on the planet and in human history. Okay.
Sure. Trivial little questions here today. Yeah. So I grew up loving maps and loving photography, and for as long as I could remember, I used whatever was available at the time in order to create some sort of photo-based map experience to share things, whether it was a cross-country trip that my family did, and then I learned HTML and I started building websites on my own, and I started figuring out how to hack things together there. This was long before Google Maps. And then when I was living in Hawaii, I was working on a number of projects to do educational outreach where we were tracking buoy drifters using satellite data on Google Maps and teaching kids about the environment and marine debris. And so for me, it's just been this really wonderful experience where my life has always seemed to revolve around maps and photography, and then coming to Google where, you know, we estimate we take just a huge percentage of the world's photos every year, because look at Street View with 5 million miles, and using photography to make maps better and more interesting and more accurate. For me, this is just sort of the dream come true,
It is, yeah.
to be able to work on a project like this. And I've always loved hiking and I've always loved the outdoors, and then to be able to come back and you know, basically merge all of these things and work with Rob and work with Kara and the team, it's really incredible.
Great
And,
synergy.
you know, I don't know where that puts me in the grand scheme of the universe, but it makes me very happy right now.
Well,
So,
we'll see. We'll see.
yeah.
You know, the popularity of this will precede you.
Yeah.
So as the product manager,
Yeah.
now you've rolled it out. There are other places too, and you're going to be improving the technology every day. I know that. You
Sure.
know, it never stops.
Yeah.
My question is, what happens now? What problems do you have to solve going forward? What are the milestones for getting, you know, to the next level, if you will?
Okay. Yeah, so, you know, I think we're always looking to try to figure out how to do things at scale at Google, right? And so all along we've always had Google collected imagery, and I think this partner program is our biggest step actually leaped forward to say, look, we're going to start working with people who know the places the best and let them show the world what this place is about. And so right now I'm working on a number of projects that are letting people start putting their own photography onto the map. And the Trekker program is one of them. We have other products already out there that let people use an Android device or their own camera to just share photos of the places that they care about. And I think that's how we're going to get it to that next level, to get photos everywhere you may ever dream of going at any time of day that you might feel is that special moment. There's that, right as the sun sets, I forget what the word is in Hawaiian, but it's that
Green flash.
The green,
yeah.
the famous,
well, no, there's a Hawaiian word for it
green
that I
flash, yeah.
can't. Now, hala, I don't want to even try to guess it. It's something like, but it was like right when the sun goes down and there's that special moment, and when you stand at that one place. I'm thinking of Kona Village where I got married, and that was where you watch this thing happen. And I want Google Maps to be able to start letting you experience places in the way we all know and love them. And it needs to be accurate, it needs to be comprehensive as a map, but it also needs to let you know and love a place so that you can make the right decisions about going there and then relive it like you've been mentioning. And so our new Google Maps web product that you've seen over the last month we rolled out, it's now invite only, really puts photography front and center and really basically says, like, check out this place, look how beautiful it is, explore your world, and just it gets you to really start engaging. And for me, this is really where we always wanted to be.
Yeah, and you realize that in short order this is going to change things. There's a transformation in this product, this one product. That's,
yeah, I mean, I think as Rob said, like, if this inspires people to get outside and to go and see the wilderness in a way that they hadn't, or even just go explore the city. If you live in a city and don't sit on your butt on the couch all day, go out there. And we launched a product called Ingress recently that got people to start going to find new places and interesting places in their own neck of the woods that maybe they didn't even know about. So I think I'm really excited to see Google Maps being this thing. I mean, maps are about adventure, right? I mean, think of the first maps. They were made by the explorers and the adventurers and the people that went out in the world, not by guys sitting in a back room somewhere. So like maps is now really starting to, I think, let you explore and experience a place in this whole new way.
It's about sharing.
Yeah.
It's the altruism, the bringing the world, the people, the community together to altruistically provide value to everyone. It's like traveling with a lot of people with you.
Yeah.
They're all there with you.
Yeah.
And sending photographs back not only to your mother, but to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's the ultimate sharing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I put photographs on Google Maps all the time using the public-facing tools, always, and it gives me a really great joy when people email me and say, wow, that's really incredible. Like, how do I get there? And of course, it's on Google Maps, so we can give them directions. I mean, just go look on Google Maps. But because if you put photos elsewhere, people are always, the first question is, great, where was that? And so you want to know where it is. I mean, you have to celebrate the place, and putting it on maps, I think, is really just one of the most, for me, like just this ultimate social experience, right, of sharing the places that we all care about.
Yes. And actually, I mean, in terms of location with the GPS and the maps, if you have a photo or a video or whatever, you will know exactly where you are, right down to the crosshairs on it. But the whole program you're describing, it's not only that the state of Hawaii backs you, and it's not only that the
Hawaii Forest and Trail.
Forest and Trail backs you.
Yeah.
And organizations like that. It's that you are depending on volunteers who will carry the device, who will schlep the 40 pounds. This is a Hawaiian word.
I'm from New York originally. I know that word.
And who will take the time and effort to go through that, whatever burden that is, to do that. And you're sort of counting on that in your model, that there'll be somebody out there willing to do it. Because if there's nobody out there, or if not enough people out there willing to do it, you can't do it. You can't make the inroad that you need to make, that you want to make.
It's a classic example of crowdsourcing.
Yeah.
It's true. It's
like
an investment, isn't it? Kind of a micro investment, but nevertheless an investment.
I mean, I think people love to share the places that they care about. I think this is a fundamental thing that I truly believe in. Me as a person, that people like to share the places that they care about. And I think that as long as we could rely on the fact that people always want to say, show their favorite nick of the world to everybody else, then I don't think we have to worry at all about whether there's going to be someone. When we announced the first Trekker and went to the Grand Canyon, we received thousands and thousands of emails from people all over the world with just this passion, overflowing of information and emotion to say, I want to bring Trekker, whether it was this guy who was just going to fly off to Nepal tomorrow and he wanted to take a Trekker with him, to the person who wanted to show us their local community park. People really, really love to show the world to others, and not concerned at all about whether there's ever going to be
we
people.
posted it on our social channels this morning already, and people have been coming in. How can I get involved? How can I show my neighborhood? Yeah.
You're going to find a lot of interest.
Yeah.
But just wait till they get to the point where the Trekker technology is on like a little ball you have on your keychain. It's like we're carrying around our cell phones now, and you can go around and wherever you're at and put this stuff and post it up. I mean, the amount of information you think about. I've been doing presentations in natural history for years, and I remember how hard it was early on to get some good satellite pictures, of areas to show these, talk lessons about. Now, we think about what you can do with Google, Google Earth, the Google Maps, just what they've been able to, provide and make available. And then this just next step, and you think about the changes that have happened just in such a short period of time. Who knows what's coming down the road? I just love that. I love to think about what's down the future and what technology is there for us to keep going.
Well, you mentioned shrinking the Trekker down to a golf ball, and I don't have a magic golf ball for you today, but I do have an Android phone. And actually, back in the fall, we launched a product called Photosphere on Android that lets you create these 360-degree panoramas with an Android phone, and then you could share those on Google Maps, and you can just kind of, I always like to, think that the best camera is the one you actually have on you, right? So, I have an amazing, expensive DSLR back at home, but if you're out there and you see this amazing thing, you want to take a picture of it. And so, Photosphere lets you create these 360-degree panoramas that me on the Street View team and my whole team, we worked with the Android team, and we came together to create this. And so, I think we have all sorts of different ways to make sure people can share the places that they care about.
So you take, and that actually appends to the same database, right? In other words, the photo
Photosphere, yeah. Think of like a sphere.
Data can just as easily go with the Trekker, and now enhance what you already have from the Trekker.
Exactly. So if you look on, again, sign up for this new Google Maps that we have. It's a really beautiful experience. You'll see right on the bottom there's a bunch of photo thumbnails that show up as you're browsing over a place, and you'll see Rob's trails coming up, hiding up there or popping up there, and then you'll start to see people who just took one or two photospheres or normal photos starting to show up there as well. And so you'll see Rob's entire trail, or you could see maybe someone went there at sunset one day and they're showing you a different view of this, or someone went there in the middle of a rainstorm and there's a different view. So I think you'll start to get a really unique diversity of imagery.
It's like the ghosts of everyone who's ever been there. The community of historic visitors, it's all there. You can see who's been there. It takes on a life of its own. And your point, I think, really, you're listening to him. With the golf ball thing, it's coming. It's got to be coming. And so instead of the big, what is it, about a foot wide?
It's about a foot diameter.
In diameter hanging over your head. Suppose you had a little golf ball on the top of your head.
Well, I mean, technology, if you look at the history of technology, things always get better, faster, higher resolution, better quality. So I think we all know not to bet against technology at any point,
What will happen, though, as it gets smaller, as more people will be willing to take it along, more people will make the contributions, and you will be buried in photographs. The world will be blanketed with Google Map photographs involving every place imaginable. Which takes me, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, that highlights our mission at Google, not just Google Maps, but it's to organize the world's information. So, look what we did with web pages, right? There's web pages everywhere, and how useful is that if it's not organized in a way? So, I trust that we'll be able to do a very good job of organizing all the world's photos on maps as well.
I have absolute confidence in Google. I do. Google has changed our lives. A moment on Google here. It has changed our lives. You guys must have the same experience, but I'm with Google every day, and Google is with me every day, and my knowledge is enhanced every day. Google is my buddy, my friend. I talk about partnerships. Whatever I want to know. When I was a kid, we used to call Lackawanna 41000 in New York. And that was the number for the New York Times Information Service. And there were guys there who would answer any question because they were very knowledgeable. And my mother would say, Call them, you'll find out.
Yeah.
But you don't need that anymore. You can answer any question in the world with Google.
Well, what's really interesting that we're doing is we're actually trying to answer some questions before you even ask them. So if you've seen Google Now, you can be on your Android phone and it'll buzz and it'll say, hey, you know, you're about to drive to work this morning and there's an accident. Maybe consider going a different way.
Google Now.
So Google Now is a really cool technology that we have.
Okay, that's fantastic.
So in my office, I'm a book fiend, and so I have my whole office is surrounded with bookshelves full of books, natural history books mostly, but all sorts of books. I'll be doing research, and now instead of like when I want to find some information I know someplace, I'm getting up and walking 4 feet to my shelf and trying to find that book. I'm on Google and I type it in, and here Google Books come up and right to the page. Like and I'm not even pulling books off my shelf anymore because of Google. It's wonderful.
Well, I just hope there's a Northwoods left. A place that is totally sanctified where nobody has ever been. I have a feeling it's going to go away.
I don't think so. I think there's people who will always make sure that there's those hidden pockets of the world.
Reserve sanctuaries. This is a Google sanctuary.
Well, I mean, this concept of open space preserves that are naturally protected, I think, is a really great thing that our society has. And national parks, one of the greatest invention that I forget what that line was, but America's greatest invention, right? It's just, and I love them, and I love that we protect the lands and we make sure they're there for the next generation.
Thank you, Evan.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kara.
Thank
We're
you.
out of time. We got to go. Thank you very much for a great discussion. I hope you do it again.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha. We actually have to.